Hey guys, I'm gonna show you a couple of my favorite flies to take to Brazil. I have a trip coming up this November. It'll be my third trip down to fish for peacock bass, and I wanted to have a video out there for some of the flies that I take down there, which is not many, and you don't need a lot of flies for this fishery. Just some bait fish style flies and a few different colors. So I wanted to show some of those flies for either guests of mine going on my trip or anybody. If you're going to Brazil, these flies catch plenty of fish. I haven't really had any need for anything harder to tie, more expensive to tie. So this first fly is a deceiver. I'm going to tie it on a partridge 4-aught Attitude Extra. You can tie this on any hook you desire. I do recommend a strong hook. Doesn't have to be strong enough for GT, but a hook strong enough that when you have to put the wood to the fish, trying to go into the bushes or into a tree, you're not gonna bend your hook out. And these hooks have done really good for me in Brazil. So we're just going to do a chartreuse and white. That's been my most productive color down there. I'll talk about some of the other colors as well. So I'm just going to take a couple scalloping feathers in white. This is not the best scalloping. I've ran out of the bigger, thicker stuff I would like to be using on this fly. So need to make a trip to the fly shop and get some more. Just run one on each side. Feather gives a very nice tapered tail. Little action back there. I'm not going to run any flash in the rear. Fish down in Brazil, the ones I fish to, just don't seem to like a lot of flash. And it also attracts a lot of piranha. So we're just gonna flash the body with UV chenille, polar chenille. You could also use Palmer chenille and any flash material that you want to wrap. It will work just fine. All right, so got that part done. Now basically we're going to build the top and bottom wings basically of the fly to make it look more like a bait fish. I'm going to use two different colors. I'm going to use yellow chartreuse bucktail. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'm going to do it reverse. What I mean by that is I could tie it in like this, but you're going to have that wing kind of low. It's going to have more of a slender profile. I like having a little bit higher bait fish profile, so I'm actually going to reverse tie this hair in. Right on top, loose wrap, and then start your tightening. If it moves on you, just spin it back. So when I put my head on, this is just going to lay that fly back real nice, that bucktail. I'm going to do some white. Remember, always clean your butts. Measure that up. Same thing, I'm just going to loose wrap and apply my pressure. All right. We're gonna go ahead and pull this back. I'm just gonna get some wraps in front of this. I can use my thread to keep this hair laid back, but I don't need to. I'm just gonna whip finish real quick. Sorry about that. Sounds like nails on a chalkboard. Bobbin needs some grease. Whip finish it. Now, I use two different style heads to finish this. One is a heavy head, which I like to use a fish skull head. You're going to want a size large for this big of a hook. This is a medium. And then I also like to use the fish mask in a 6 or 7 for shallower water, because you're going to come across shallow water with a lot of snags. So you're going to want some lighter flies and some heavier flies. Generally 99% of the time, the 2 times I've been to Brazil, all I use is a intermediate sink tip. Scientific Anglers makes a great one called the Jungle Line with like a 15-foot sink intermediate. And that's really all I've needed. If I'm going to fish deeper water, I'm just going to fish with that heavier fly. So I just put a little glue in that head, slid that head right on, kind of hold it there. I'm going to get a few flip thread wraps, build a little dam of thread right here in front of the head. That'll keep that from sliding off if that glue breaks. Chalkboard again. Boom, that's it. I'm gonna put some eyes on this guy. Some number 6 fish skull living eyes from Flyman. Just gonna sit those right in the molded out spot in the head. That's it, guys. That is basically a deceiver. Simple, effective fly. I've caught so many peacocks on this. Fish well over 10 pounds. Biggest fish 15 pounds. I would tie these in olive and white, chartreuse and white. Go heavy with chartreuse and white, red and white, and even red and yellow. So I have a few different colors, but there's really, I've not seen much need to have another fly than just this. The only downfall is the feathers. They will tear up. Piranhas will bite them off. So the next fly is going to be a synthetic fly, which will last much longer.